going to make a Bridgerton dress for a ball coming up in August, but I technically only have like a couple weeks to make it because then I'll start uni and then I'll have no time to make my dress. So I am going to try and make my dress now. So, plan is, now these are the rough sketches that I had for my dress, just a little bit of brainstorming. I got these fabrics from a thrift store, so they're basically only this wide. And like, they have like two sizes like this. This is a thrifted, upcycled Bridgerton dress, made to look expensive. Hello, voiceover Xixi Amethyst here. I do not have table space at home, so I'm cutting out all the fabric on the ground. And because there are two sides to this fabric, I had to unpick it first before I can trace and work on it. I think there are almost like 3 meters of just this long, narrow fabric. So I had to be very careful about where I place my pattern pieces because I was making my top and my long, big puff sleeve out of this fabric. For the lining of my dress, I used this old t-shirt from my ex. You know, you gotta reuse, recycle, and be environmentally friendly. And now his t-shirt supports my dress more than he ever emotionally supported me. Anyways, this sketch was the final dress that I ended up making. I had already cut the outer like bust area in that patterned fabric, and now I'm tracing it onto a t-shirt to get the lining. And I'm not using proper like fabric chalk to like trace any of this fabric out. I am literally using an ink pen, but I'm like tracing on the wrong side of the fabric so it won't show on the right side. In this clip, I'm tracing out the shape of a pocket to add to my dress, but the bottom half of my dress was too dainty and see-through to add a pocket, so I didn't, even though I wish I could have. The first thing I did was sew all the lining pieces together as like one entire piece, and then sewing all the outside pieces together. So you should have like 2 separate pieces like this. If you guys remember, I made this 12 for my last like fashion collection assignment in semester 1, and I'm gonna use the 12 as like a guide for my ball dress. Like, I took it in 1 centimeter on the top and 1 centimeter at the back so that it could fit me better. So instead of like these long sleeves, I'm gonna attach like the big puff sleeves. A big chunk of my time was also spent unpicking the fabric because it was a really stiff material, and I also didn't have the proper unpicking tools. So this shoulder puff sleeve situation going on here, I've actually made it before in my previous assignments, and because they were made to the standard model size, it was like a size too big, so I had to like size it down so that it could fit me. And I did the sewing procedure the same as the tube top, where I sewed the outer pieces together first and then the lining pieces, before making them like face right sides together and sewing around the edge so they're one whole piece. Although I did leave the armholes open so I can flip them inside out and also attach the sleeves. Now when I flipped the pieces like right side round, it was really bubbly around the edges. Okay, so the top is exactly the same as my Valentine's Day lace dress, and like I wanted to show you, like I sewed the lining with the front fabric together. This is it top stitched, and then after I top stitch it, it becomes like really neat and cute. So I'm gonna do it to the rest of the top. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my sewing area has now leveled up. Ta-da! The sewing machines have been moved downstairs to the small living room we have, so now I have more space and I can sit on a proper chair and sew at a proper desk at home. Like, look at this baby. Look at that. Oh my god, I am excited. I got too focused sewing that I forgot to show you. If you've watched my previous fashion vlogs, you'd be pretty used to this kind of silhouette and look already. Like, I've shown this in this photography video as well as my blazer assignment, and I kind of just adapted it to my size and this fabric. And I think I'm gonna put white lace on it. The next step I need to do is to alter this really long dress. This was from a thrift shop that I got gifted, so I just need to size this down. This is done. Like, oh my god. Look at how cool this is. Okay, now working on the body of the dress. I first tried it on to see where I would need to cut the dress and see what kind of alterations I would need to make so that it would fit me. Because at this point, it was very loose and long. I first cut off the neckline and where the sleeves were because I don't need it, and the rest of the dress was like long enough. And I made sure to overlock all the edges first because it is made out of chiffon, which is a more delicate fabric. And I kind of marked out where I was taking in on the waist. But because the overall fabric was like larger than my size, and I also didn't want a gathered look, I just sewed it onto my bust top first. And then I cut off the excess overhanging fabric that you see here, because this way I'll have a neater look and all the fabric will be like pulled back a bit more, so it will cinch in my waist. And the last thing I needed to do was also sew in a zip. So, update. Because I was using a really old zip from this pillowcase, I don't remember where, I accidentally pulled the zipper off. Like, it had no stopper at the start or end, so it came off. So I have to unpick this off the dress. I was like halfway through sewing this. So I went to get a new one because I really needed it to sew it in place. It is a little bit shorter, like maybe 5 centimeters, but it's okay. I could like sew it up, so time to fix this. And maybe I'd never be alone anymore. So go to outer space. Okay, so I've never made gloves before, but I'm going to try. I've traced out my hand and like how long I want it to be. Before I do on the actual fabric, I thought I'd do like a test run on this dress that I don't want. I think someone gave it to me. Basically, I don't wear it. It's stretchy. It's similar to my final fabric, so I am going to try this out and hopefully it works. You would think it would be smart to like search online how to make gloves, but I didn't. I think my ego is a bit too big. But I ended up sewing many different trials, like increasing and decreasing the size in certain areas so that the fit will be so snug. And yes, I ended up using all the space on the dress to make the trials. So, change of plans. Instead of purple gloves, I think I'm gonna do white gloves because I tried on the like trial gloves that I made, and I think it matches with the dress more because I have the white lace there, and I felt like it would be weird if it's just like purple, white little like floral lace and then purple again. I've already traced the glove on the shirt. I think I'm gonna like make purple gloves nonetheless whether I wear it to ball or not. So yeah. I was actually scared whether I'd be able to like find white material or not. Like I'm literally just grabbing my old shirts to cut. Like this is a really stretched out white long sleeve, and then I had another one that I've been wearing but I don't wear it too much and I need white gloves. I, you know, do a bit of upcycling, so I'm gonna cut up my old white long sleeves and make some gloves out of them. Now the reason I'm using two is because they both have like front prints and they're pretty see-through, so I am going to cut them apart and use the back of the shirt only. For sewing something that is actually small and separate like the finger slots, it is better to actually sew on the line before you like cut it apart. Otherwise it would be really fiddly and fragile if you're sewing like a skinny little piece of finger. And since the fabric won't fray, I cut like 1 to 2 millimeters away from the stitching line. And behold, the white lace. Also the finishing touches to my dress, which I needed to hand sew all around the cuffs of my puff sleeve as well as the front of my dress. It was quite hard at times because I was sewing through like a really thick fabric, and at this point I wished I had like tiny finger gloves to protect my fingers from the needle, because I'm pretty sure I did poke myself and my fingers were hurting at the end of it. And now finally for the grand reveal of the dress.
Ta-da! Today we are here at the Auckland War Memorial Museum.
Okay, let's go.
With the best friend, Xixi. Yep, you can walk forward. I'll just follow you. Just make sure our car doesn't crash.
If spring is the season that wakes me alive, then fall is the season to contemplate life. Oh, I don't know what is it exactly in this time of year that makes the melancholy reappear. Oh, back and forth through dark roast coffee, salt mist and sea, sand and amber trees. 'Cause it still feels like summer, but it's soaked in nostalgia slowly. All the leaves are turning brown. 'Cause it still feels like summer, and I simply don't wanna see the cool wind sneak back in our town. 'Cause we lived when it was out bare feet, tan skin glistening beneath the heat, evening swirl into a bird song beat. God, it's now so very bittersweet. So I guess I'll just put on my favorite sweater and say goodbye to summer.
Interestingly, that night I was expecting to meet people that I knew from my real life, but instead I got approached by some followers, which was really cute. There were a couple others who said hi and took pictures with me, but I don't have their pictures. And in case they're watching this, thank you for saying hi because y'all really made my night. Oh, and yes, at the ball there was the queen that we had to bow to whenever she walked past us during the dining hall. And there were also actors and dancers that specifically performed around the crowd with us. Also, just to point out, this was a charity ball that was like ran by students, so it wasn't the actual Bridgerton experience run by like the actual company. But overall, the ball was quite fun to dress up to with everyone and just kind of experience ball all over again. There was this 360 photo booth where you stand in the middle of this like platform they have, and that ring light has a little camera that kind of zooms around you and takes like a cool slow motion vid of you moving. And instead of doing like a pose or like some kind of dancing movement, I thought it would be cool to kind of like swish my dress around so it looked really elegant in like slow motion. The camera also circulated around me like pretty fast, so it was a really quick like swish swish and done. And this was the final result.
I guess I'll just put on my favorite sweater and say goodbye to summer. Goodbye to summer. If life is an ocean wave, I'll stand on the shore and wait. Panoramic point of view, it paints a different kind of you. Nothing's permanent but change waves.
Thank you guys so much for watching if you've watched until now. Let me know what your favorite part of the video was in the comments below. And a shout out to my boyfriend for filming all the vlog footage for me at ball and taking really cute pictures.
Tired.
Look at my lashes. Look at butterflies. Look, wait. Hey, matching. Best friends.
Yeah,
Like you know this?
best
and then
for life. Where's the heart?
I don't think lying on your fabric is a good idea, but hello, I don't know what to call you, but just watch me try and make this dress.